Hey, everybody, it's Casey, and it's the Wall to Wall Country Show. And just as we do each and every week, we have a special guest on the show. And I am really intrigued about this guy because he kind of has an interesting take on some of his music is a little different than what you would probably consider good old-fashioned traditional country. But it's really, really good. And it speaks for itself. So he's a Montana boy, which is one of my favorite states of all time. I love Montana. And I'm so happy to have him on the show. He's got a voice for radio, so I hope you enjoy this interview, folks. Here he is, Mr. Chance McKinney. Hey, Chance, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Appreciate it. That might be the biggest understatement of the entire conversation. A little bit not country, or not your traditional country.
Yeah. And I just wanted to intrigue my listeners for just a bit. You know, I mean, I've had everybody, you know, from good old traditional boys, you know, all the way up to some kind of all but pop country. But I do have to say, I think your stuff stands out a little bit different than most of the artists I interviewed, which is what intrigued me in the first place. And listening to your stuff, I'm like, wow. So we'll get to all that in a minute. Because we're excited about an announcement that's happened recently and some stuff you have going on. So you're kind of a busy guy. But let's back up just a second, though. I mentioned you're from the big sky state of Montana. And I want to know a little background. I always like to, everybody's story is always a little different. Some people, they knew they were artists when they were 2 years old. Some people didn't realize what they wanted until they were in their 20s or their 30s. What's your story? How did you get to performing and doing this kind of music for yourself?
Well, to be honest, I didn't start till I was after done with college.
Okay.
I'd grown up singing, you know, a little bit. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I was singing when I was 3 or 4 years old."
Yeah.
I sang a little bit. My mom directed church choir, you know, so I did that, but maybe for a couple of years, and then we were all about sports.
Okay.
There's not a ton to do. I mean, there's a ton to do in Montana, but when it comes to school, I mean, there is school and there's sports.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of a sports family, you know. I chased my brother into a lot of different things, you know, football, basketball, baseball.
Well, people don't know this, but if they looked you up, you've got the beef. I mean, there's some beef on your bones, and I could see you as a serious football player or something people are gonna be scared to see you running at them.
You know what? I'm just big. I mean, I'm 6'6", and probably right around 230, 235 right now, which when I competed in college, I was actually 6'6", 255, probably right around 255, 260. And, I took the sports route. We didn't have time for anything else. You know, if it was football season, I was in football. If it was basketball, I was in basketball. And then I eventually gravitated towards track, which track in Montana is pretty unique. It's one of 17 states that has the javelin.
Oh, okay.
And growing up in a baseball family, it's funny how my brother and I both landed in the javelin. He was amazing, and so I chased him into it. And in doing so, it always seems to happen. The younger sibling always seems to do a little bit better because for me to play with my brother, I always had to play it up. So he's 3.5 years older than me, and if I wanted to go throw with him, if I wanted to go play basketball with him and his buddies, if I wanted to, you know, mess around with him, I always had to play bigger than I was.
Right.
And
because he didn't want his little brother hanging around, you know, kind of like ruining the day, you know. So you had to step it up. You had to step it up, boy.
So I took a good solid beating growing up, you know, playing with kids bigger than me, but as soon as you hit that, I want to say that high school age, you know, right there, 13, 14, 15, you've caught up. Like, you know where you're going to land. Like, I was probably 6'1" as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd surpassed a lot of my brother's buddies, you know, in size and speed and strength. And then, you know, Jason, he grew to about 6'3", 6'4", and I passed him up. I went 6'6".
Wow.
that's how I paid my way through school with javelin.
Yeah.
And I didn't start singing until a couple of buddies of mine. We hit a karaoke bar after one of our last track meets, and I kind of was like, "Man, this is kind of fun." And let the karaoke jokes begin. Whatever. But one of the first times I went out is when I moved from Pullman. I went to school at WSU, so in the Pac-12, and then I moved over to Seattle to work for the Seahawks.
Okay.
And when I get to Seattle, I don't know anybody. So I head out. My buddies, we had a great time karaoke in Pullman, and so I went out. And one of the first times I did it in Seattle, a bunch of black guys come up to me, and they're like, "Dude, you ever think about singing in a band?" I'm like, "No. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" They said, "We got a Motown group that tours all through Canada and the West Coast, and we wondered if you were interested." And I'm like, "Sure, what's Motown?" and this, to see the look on their faces was, priceless. They're like, you're kidding me, right? What's Motown? And I'm thinking to myself, it's not like we had Motown stations in Montana.
Right.
And
right.
they were thinking, oh, this dude's going to cover Barry White. He's going to cover Melvin Franklin. He's got this down.
Yeah.
So they were thinking, should we rescind the offer? And I came out to a couple of rehearsals with them, and I was hooked, man. I mean, it was quite the switch. You go up on the athletic stage and you're performing for hundreds or thousands in stadium settings, but it's short things. It's 15 to 30 minutes at a time. And then you make the switch over to music, and you're literally singing and dancing. I had learned dance steps to be in this group, and hell, I'd never even sung before publicly, let alone, had a script to follow and whatnot. So that taught me a lot real quick. And it just, as I started to develop, I started to write, and my writing just came out pure country. I mean, it was terrible, that's for sure. And I still remember recording I recorded 9 of my first 13 songs I ever wrote. And the producer that did it did an amazing job for what I had handed him. It was actually palatable at that point. But then things just kind of, and me being as, naive as I was and competitive. So you have to understand, under all of this, everything that's transpired in the last 8 or 9 years, it's all about competing. Well, and I walked that CD into the 7th largest country radio station in the country. That's how much of an idiot I am. And I walk in, and how I got a meeting with the program director is still beyond me. But
they were probably scared of you. They saw you walk through the door and went, "We're going to talk to this guy just so he doesn't tear the place apart."
I hope not. I know that my size can be a little intimidating, but I hope I don't stir people. But anyways, I'm sitting there across the table from her, and she's listening to the CD, and she just looks across, and she goes, "This is pure crap." And
nice.
And I had thick skin, but still, I'm pretty new to the music thing, and I just went, "Well, that's your opinion."
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, this is pretty bad." and so she goes, "You got no story. You're new to writing. You're new to recording. This isn't competitive." Da, 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 da. And I sat there and I took a verbal beating for about a half hour from the senior most woman in radio. I had no idea at the time. The senior most woman in radio for the past 40 years. She was like on the ACM board. She's on. I mean, and I'm sitting across the table from her for, with my first crappy CD, and so she beat on me pretty good. And I walked out of there, you know, a little bit pissed, but still, I'm heading down this path. And she calls me 2 weeks later because she'd found out that I'd paired with another guy out of Seattle and put together a duet. And she goes, "Hey, would you guys like to open for Kenny Chesney?" That was my first country show.
Wow. That's awesome.
I mean, I played some open mics. I played, you know, I'd done some rehearsals with the band that we were putting together. But we literally, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So we go out there, and we end up playing for the radio station. I call it the parking lot tour. But, you know, CenturyLink, the Seahawks football stadium, holds about 60-some thousand.
Wow.
We had about 10,000 people outside the stadium with the radio station. We have a water cannon. We're shooting people with water cannon. We're on a 10-by-10 plywood stage playing acoustic to anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 people.
Nice.
And that was because I tell people that's how it happened.
Wow.
You write a crappy CD, you take a little verbal beating from a program director, and then you open for Kenny Chesney. That's how
that's how it goes. You know? Yeah, I mean, come on. You go from a 3-time national champion javelin thrower, an all-state basketball player with a 4.0 GPA, and then you play for Kenny Chesney. I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's the way it happens for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's the script.
I can tell you that I've been interviewing people for several years now, and I have never had anybody tell me it was that easy. Most of them tell me they've had to claw and scrape their way to the top.
Yeah. Oh well, don't get me wrong. It's been a brutal ride. But it's it's pretty interesting. My fourth show was actually main stage with Shadazy.
Wow.
My 8th show was with Toby Keith. In my first 20 shows, we did shows. I still remember. We come out and we do a show with Rascal Flatts.
Wow. Miles are my buddies, man. They're my favorite band of all time. My boys.
Once again, the parking lot tour. But I still remember that Jason Aldean is with the radio station doing interviews online or live interviews while we're playing, and everybody's standing in front of our stage. And this is like Why and what are some other of his early hits? So there was Why, and there was it was when he started to get into the heavier stuff. And I can only think of She Wrecked This Town because I just did that, but that's not the song I'm thinking of. It was Rolling Town, Step Off the Bus. Anyways, so he's pushing a couple of those songs right at this time, and people are standing in front of our stage, and I'm like a Jason Aldean fan. And I just remembered him over there doing minors and them taking him back into the stage because he's going on right after us. But yeah, I got some funny stories, man.
Wow, you should write a book.
I don't know. I don't know if I could remember all of them.
Well, it would come to you as you're penning it out. I mean, if the music stuff doesn't work, and obviously maybe, the sports you're over that hump, maybe you could just become an author next. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a one-shot wonder. It'd be about like my first CD. It'd be super happy.
Well, actually, let's try to talk about some of the music, because as I said, very beginning, your stuff is not, people think of country, they can think of a very wide span of music. But let's jump to the big announcement of just a couple days ago, getting people up to speed of where we're at. You did put out a CD a little while ago, though. This is not your first CD that you've had out there, other than the bad one.
Right. No, that bad one. That's 10 years old.
Right.
We've man, I just right after that one, after doing some of those shows, then that band broke up, and I ended up winning a CMT award entered in that Music City Madness.
Okay.
And then the next CD, so I recorded a CD. So I had a number one on CMT. Then I recorded another CD, and it comes out and debuts at 63. Then I recorded another CD, and it debuts at 42. And then this last one, then I did another. God, where am I? Yeah. But then this last one that I did, we just debuted at number 27. And we have never had national radio airplay.
Mm-hmm.
So things changed last November. Some stuff got worked out behind the scenes, and so I knew going into this project, the 4-song EP, which we called I.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists will do their kind of the breakout album as a self-titled one, and I thought we could do shorter than that. We could just say, instead of Chance McKinney, Chance McKinney.
Right.
Just do I. There you go.
Got
That's
it.
the shortest self-titled
Now this
EP in the world.
This was just put out in mid-May?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, May 18th it landed, and we've already got a song hitting the national radio that just got decided. It finalized on Tuesday,
Nice.
so just a couple days ago, and
Yes,
we're going to take it back to radio.
All right. So this is a 4-song EP,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to talk about some of the music on it. We'll talk about all 4 songs on it. We'll try to get all 4 in this afternoon. But now, the first single that's out there is "Take It Back," and it's kind of upbeat. But if you listen to the words, it's a little bit of a sadder song because you're talking about taking back the goodbye, right? But it's got a neat beat to it. I don't know. You explain it.
You know, it's the way I try to explain it to people is we'll step into venues that we've never played before, and we fire this song up, and this is, we've played it now for, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks live on the road, and it reminds me of How About You, Eric Church.
Okay.
That kind of response that we used to get when we were doing cover stuff,
Mm-hmm.
when we break out How About You,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I see in
Okay.
Take It Back. And, people who follow me, they're diehards. They're going to know all the words every time I step into a venue, but the people who don't, still, you can see their heads jerk around when the song starts, and they're like, it's just, this whole EP has been a different experience altogether. But Take It Back is just resonating with everybody. And I know it sounds a little sad, but it's really not. It's we're going to clear all that up in the video.
Okay.
We just scripted the video the other day. We go in to shoot that at the end of next week.
Okay.
And I think, with people's perception of songs, like if they really like something, they usually go check out the video online.
Right.
And we're gonna put a little bit more of a positive spin on it, just to make sure that people are taking it the right way. So.
All right. And you said that video is going to be out there sometime next week. Produced.
No, we're actually shooting it next week.
Oh, okay. You're shooting it next week. Okay.
Yeah, the Impact Radio date for the song is July 16th. So
Okay.
you're going to beat a lot of people to the punch.
All right.
Which is fine with me. I have no problem with that. But, it takes, like, the difference between you and terrestrial radio. Terrestrial radio is this huge, cumbersome machine that takes a long time to push up a hill
Mm-hmm.
and then let it roll down the other side.
Right.
You've got flexibility.
Yep.
You're liquid.
Yep.
I mean, you're seriously. If the stream roll, if you tip the table one way, you're going to roll over here. And that's the great thing about the digital age now is consumer gets more music.
Mm-hmm.
It's a never-ending supply. They can get to whatever they want, whenever they want, and as the table turns, they can go with it.
Yeah.
And like internet radio, digital radio, that is
It's where to be.
Yeah, that is for the diehard consumer.
Yeah. Well, and it helps you guys, it really helps you guys too, because we're not just getting out in our quote unquote little listening area when it comes to traditional radio. I mean, know how big they are. They're still going to be limited with where they can reach. I'm going to play your song, and I can guarantee you people all over the world are going to hear it, because we know we have listeners all around the globe, Yeah, so that's kind of cool. You might start getting hits from like Sweden or London or Jamaica. We got listeners all over the place. I
am huge in South Africa.
Okay.
I'm huge. No,
Great.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say, sure, okay.
I get these reports from iTunes and Spotify and whatnot, and it was funny. They put one out for which as soon as they put it out, they send you one, and it's like this blank globe. Mm-hmm. And then you start to see, as the spins start to fill in, you see these little blue dots start to appear, and then they'll grow. And I'm massive in South Africa, Australia.
You'd be surprised at how much country's out there in Australia.
Parts of Europe.
Yep.
And Detroit, apparently, where I've never been.
Yep.
But it is this. There is some vein of people that are in Detroit that are digging themselves some Chance McKinney right now.
Well, so. I have to say, not so much on Take It Back, but we're going to talk about two other songs, and I think there might be a background reason for a little bit of the industry of the people who are listening. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. But listen, can you hang in there? We need to take a little bit of a break. And what I want to do is when we do come back, I want to play that single that's out there. People can be looking for the video coming out in a couple of weeks. Take It Back, off of his EP, simply called I. This dropped on May 18th. But you guys can now, if they want to get their hands, is it only electronic across those platforms right now, Chance?
Yeah. We don't do physical CDs anymore. We'll bring them in as merch.
Okay.
But the distribution now is all digital. iTunes and Google Play, Pandora, Spotify,
right,
Apple Music, you name it. So
okay. So that's where they can find you, trace it down. Now, can they can get the entire 4-song EP, or are they only allowed to get the single right now?
No, they can get the whole EP. Like I said, we've done this entirely backwards.
Okay.
Instead of taking a single, and then bringing out the EP, we actually put the EP out there. Okay. We tested it live. We tested it in every single demographic that we could get our hands on, from college fraternities and sororities to old folks' homes to
Detroit, apparently.
Apparently, yes, Detroit
and Africa.
Yep, and then we took what we most of the time, like a major label will come in and they'll listen to songs and they'll be like, that's the hit, and they'll send it and they'll force feed it to the listener.
Right.
We actually took all 4 to the listener and let them decide. And we just brought all the data back in, and that's what we were doing on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We sat down, and every team that's behind this song said, hey, we tested this. Take It Back 1. Okay. Hey, we tested this. And the other 3 would, kind of switch spots behind it. Mm-hmm. But Take It Back 1 in every single demographic, every category, every competition.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to let everybody take a listen to it, and we'll see how it fares here in Pennsylvania. But, we need to take a break and pay some bills so we can keep our lights on. But we're going to come back and continue talking with Chance. I want to talk about the tour. I want to talk about some of the other songs and a little bit more about connectivity, how you can get your hands on his stuff, how you can find out more about Chance. But he's going to hang in there for just a minute. But we're going to be back with more Chance McKinney coming right back after the break. You're going to hear that song, Take It Back. Remember, this is off his EP, I. Dropped. It's out there on all the electronic music platforms. Find it for yourself and download it and help this guy out. But we'll be back in just a minute right here on the Wall to Wall Country Show with me, Case, in just a minute here on PPR. Hey, guys, we're back with Chance, and back there you heard the single that is out, even though the whole EP is available for downloading on all the electronic medias. The EP is called I. That song, Take It Back. Spin on it, going to be coming from these guys when the video is available. That's down the road a couple of weeks or so. You said you're going to start working on it this next week.
We just finished scripting it the other day.
Okay.
And so I don't know, they draw up these little pictures of the scenes that are coming, and then they animate it, and they do a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, just grab a camera, we'll go shoot it, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but, that's something that your fans can be looking forward to. And I'm going to say, across your website and your social medias, you'll be making that announcement and getting it out there when it's available so everybody knows.
Oh, yeah. We're going to take it to CMT, GAC, the normal and Vivo and the normal video outlets. But, yeah, we'll push it when it's out there. It's pretty important. It's pretty important that people have that visual.
Sure.
To go along with the audio, because that feels good to a listener.
Right.
You have a story it's like watching your favorite movie.
Right.
And then you can turn that on anytime while you're doing work around the house.
Right.
And you don't have to sit and watch it, but as long as it's playing in the background, you can touch base with it when you're rolling through the room.
Right.
And you know exactly where you are in the story, because you have that picture head in your mind at the same time. Well, it's no different from music,
Right. And I think you touched on it too before. It's one thing just to hear a song. It's another thing to hear the background of how what the story is, to be able to kind of place it in your life and make that connectivity to it. But then it's a whole nother ball game when you get to see a video and see the artist's perspective of it. So that song, in my mind, kind of has a couple of lives depending on the perception of how it was heard or how it was seen or the story behind it or whatever. So it kind of gets a rebirth every once in a while, every time it's presented in a different way. And I think that's awesome that you guys use all of that to help connect with different fans and different mental statuses of what they're taking from the song itself.
Yeah, well, I know one way it's going to be used. It's not public yet, but it's going to land in a movie here this upcoming spring.
Awesome.
And what's funny is it's a horror film.
Oh, God, jeez.
And I mean, I don't know if I spill the beans now, but I don't necessarily survive.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that'll put a whole nother perspective on the song, I'm sure.
So, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool, the doors that music opens.
Yeah.
It really is. And when, I love it. I mean, I love that aspect of it. You wake up and you're working. It's just like everybody else's job.
Yeah.
But it's just weird how stuff works. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
we got so many things so many irons in the fire. Maybe 10% of them work out.
Mm-hmm.
But you get all excited. You get excited about 100% of them most of the time.
Well, and obviously you're making some right decisions here. I mean, it's obvious. Your resume showing it as far as the things that you're accomplishing and the things you have accomplished and the things you're moving forward on. And this EP is going to be an example of that, even though it's still fresh and new out there as you're pushing the music and doing videos for stuff. But I have to say, and I want to circle around to one of the things that we mentioned when we started this whole thing. Now, Take It Back to me is pretty on the line of what maybe most people would think of as country. And I know you're laughing because you know where I'm going with this. But I like We Good too. But I think what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about either Everybody Wants You or She's Wrecked This Town, because I think both of them have an interesting parts to them that people would go, wow, well, that's kind of a new sound for country music, and you have a great term for it.
Yeah. Well, we've industrialized country.
Yeah.
We all, and I'm saying we all because we all kind of associate parts of our lives growing up in Montana, growing up in Pennsylvania, growing up in West Virginia or something like that, there is a dirty aspect to it. That's a pretty simple way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
If people identify themselves as country, then there's a dirty aspect to it. There's people who are not afraid to get their hands dirty.
Right.
They're not afraid to sweat. They're not afraid to handle metal. They're not afraid,
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand where I'm going with that.
And that's a compliment. I want people to understand that that's a compliment, because they're the hardworking, blue-collar people who are trying to keep this country running.
Exactly. They identify with things earned.
Right.
People will search for what is the country listener? It's people who earn stuff.
Right.
That's who listens to country, because they still want to hear a story. They still, some people, we can like pop songs, we can like rap songs, we can like this, like that. But when we want to hear a story, we listen to country.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. We are on the edge. But if you listen, there's not a not country thing in there.
Right.
Because when we say industrialized country, yeah, I know where you're going. You want me to address the She Wrecked This Town issue. That is an issue for you, and I understand that.
It's not an issue.
Okay.
I think it's a great sound. I just think it's different.
Well, okay, so you hear, and let's not talk about the first sound.
Okay.
You hear the first sound. Do you think non-country? Or do you think, I know what that is?
Oh, I knew what it was. I think what it was is I haven't heard it placed in that forum before. And then, that whole sound that kind of goes on throughout the song, I'm like, wow, it just kind of reminded me of Stomp. Do you know what I mean by Stomp? That group that goes out there and plays like the big 55-gallon drums and the... Yeah. I get it. But we use, so industrialized country, subliminally, we use sounds that working people identify with. Right.
And metal is one of those sounds. And so we started, She Wrecked This Town. Just if you can, put yourself in the guy's shoes. Okay, now that you've heard the song, you know where the guy's coming from.
Right.
Where is his life?
It
is in
a factory. He's working. He's.
Well, no. I'm saying, where's his mental state of mind right then? He's in the dumpster.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
When you sing or when you present songs, you're trying to set the context so that people immediately know where that person is in life.
Mm-hmm.
And his life is in the crapper. And we thought there's no better way to set the tone than to break out a hammer, which working people use, and hit a dumpster.
Okay.
Where his life is.
Right. Awesome.
And we built the entire song around that sound. We hit the side of a dumpster, and that's not necessarily in the key of the song. So we had to. That's a horrific sound, right off the bat, and we had to tune it, chop it up, and then EQ it to get it to fit in that song. But once again, there's nothing not country about it.
Right. Well,
as identified. Yeah.
I know we weren't gonna. I know we weren't gonna play this song, but I think we're gonna play. I'll play it sometime during the show, just so people can get a grasp of what we're talking about here, because they have to hear the song. They just have to. So I'm gonna play all 4 songs on your EP. I just have to, because every single one of them is great. Every single one of them takes you to a different place, and for sure that one is definitely a great song. So we're going to throw that one out there, but the 2 other songs, I'm going to get that one in the show later. But the two other songs.
We are all over the board.
Oh my God!
You
See,
understand that.
yeah. Well, this is why I don't script it, because I think I would have thrown the papers like 20 minutes ago. I mean, this is what I love about doing these interviews, because I don't, it's wherever it goes, it goes. I just try to somewhat keep it on a track.
Yeah.
I
You're
think
trying to herd cats.
Goldfish. It's always damn goldfish. It's like, how do you count goldfish in a bowl? Sorry. Okay, so let's try to get back on track just a second. But I do want to play that song. I want people to hear it, and I want people to understand that it's an awesome song. But they can take away from that song an amazing, whole encompassing sense because of the way you guys did it and the music that's incorporated, or the sound, if you want to use that word instead, is incorporated into the music.
It's a subgenre. And you're gonna hear it more and more. Is industrialized country.
I like it.
Because there's pop country, obviously. There's people who talk about country rock, and this isn't that. This is, we rarely do the blues side of things.
Okay.
We knew that we'd been doing this for a couple of years. And what it was is kind of a mix of, it's a country lyric, a country vocal. It is metal guitars, industrialized sounds, and, surprise, Motown backgrounds.
Okay.
Because that's, it's supposed to reflect who I am. And, I mean, come on, I sang in an all-black group for 3 years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've experienced the other side of the coin. I've walked into an all-black nightclub and had people look at me like, what are you doing here? And had to earn my way. Like, as soon as we dropped the first note, people were like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And until that point, they were looking at me like, what the
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
So,
are you the sound guy? Are you carrying their equipment?
Yeah.
Did you drive the truck?
What is the white guy doing here? I mean, this guy is so white, he's red. And it was true. I was the redneck.
Nice.
In the all-black band. And I just got known as the white guy. We'd step into an all-black nightclub in Canada someplace, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is the group with the white guy," and it was fantastic.
I love it.
It was great. So, anyways, that's where the Motown backgrounds come in, because Motown, once again, was one of the last types of music to tell a story.
Sure. It's nice.
So, go ahead.
It's nice, to hear your definition of the dissection of the songs. And it's just like knowing the background story or of a song or whatever, so people can really appreciate the entire process and the entire product that you're giving them. So I think that's amazing. I really, it's great. I love the idea of what you guys are doing and how you're doing it, and I love that term, industrial country. On the song "Everybody Wants You," there was actually a part of that, to me, that felt like it was a bit of an orchestra sound in there, too. And I want to play another song when we say goodbye, and then I want to play one more song at the end of the show. In between there somewhere, we'll get "She Wrecked This Town." But let's talk a little bit about "Everybody Wants You," because that also is a little different than traditional country. So tell us about that one.
Well, that song's a pitch, and so we're sitting in with the publisher, and he goes, "Hey, I got a song for you. If you guys want to be different, let's do this right." So he pitches us "Everybody Wants You," and I'm sitting in there with my team, and you just everybody's like, "Whoa!" When you hear a hit, you hear a hit, And I'm really drawn to songs with a twist. So if you'll notice that song is leading you down one path. And it's at the very end of the chorus, the whole thing gets turned around and dumped back on you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's beautiful girl and natural beauty and everybody wants you and then right at the very end, bam, and I just want you back.
Right.
And
right.
I love it when a song is so well crafted. It leads me down a path and then flips that on me right at the end and still makes sense.
Right.
That's just a masterful songwriting.
Mm-hmm. And
that's another part of this experience is I'm not picking stuff that people can't identify with. I'm like, if it identifies with me, and I know how I was raised, I know my background, and I know that I am the majority of country music listeners.
Mm-hmm.
If I identify with it, the majority, not all, I'm not saying everybody's going to like every one of my songs. They're actually very polarizing. You know, I'm going for, I love that song or I hate that song.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I put out vanilla, there's already 800 shades of vanilla out there anyways.
Right, right.
You can get that listening to the other artists, you can't discern who they are.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, is that so-and-so or is that so-and-so? I don't know. The voices are so close.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of our songs will be identifiable because it is love it or hate it.
Right.
That's what music is. Stir up an emotion. We're not just background music.
Right.
So, everybody wants you. It punched all the right buttons for me.
Oh, I like it. And I like the way you guys did it, too. Again, a little bit different than, again, not traditional country. If people want traditional country, they're in the wrong wheelhouse here.
Well, but are they? I mean, is my vocal anything other than traditional country?
Oh, no, you got the voice. It's just your style. And like you're saying, you don't want to be, everybody else. And I think, it's brave, but I also think it's
brave is a real nice way of saying it's stupid.
No. But here's the thing. You're right. When get into corporate music, the problem, and one of the things I hear from a lot of artists, especially when they're starting out or they're trying to get their own music out there or whatever, is you have to conform to what they tell you need to be, and you need to sound like, and you need to dress this way, and you need to do this. This is what you need to do for us to be able to back you and, get you out there. What you guys are doing is you're doing you.
It's not. Everything they're telling you to do that's not what you're doing.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
I get it.
But unfortunately,
we have to own our own little corner.
Right.
See, I can't come out and sing a Blake song. I can't come out and sing a Luke song. I can't come out and sing a Dirk song because they're going to beat me at doing themselves.
Right.
So I'm going to come out and do a Chance song, and we're going to see how many people identify with that.
And I think that's awesome. I'm trying to commend and you don't take it the wrong way. I admire what you guys are doing because I think people who have those big backings get caught in that. And then at some point, usually what ends up happening, from what I understand, eventually they go, you know what? I need to do my own thing, and I can't keep doing what you're telling me to do because that's not me, and I want to do me. And but sometimes it takes them a while to get out of that loop.
Yeah, but we've done this again completely backwards. I didn't come to Nashville.
Right.
I didn't sit here and I didn't get the record deal. I built my following in the Pacific Northwest. We we did a test on all this.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing, it just floors people in Nashville when I come to town, and they're like, how many shows are you doing? Are you doing like 12, 15 a year?
Mm-hmm.
I've done between 60 and 100 shows every year for 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, your schedule's packed, that's for sure. I took a look at it. You guys are busy.
Yeah, and so this is kind of the way I've heard stories that it used to be done.
Mm-hmm.
You used to build a following and then take it national.
Right.
And now, when they break artists, they try to build a national following from, I don't know how to explain it. I just know that we're not doing it normal. Let's put it. It's the simple.
But that's not to say that you're not doing it the right way either, because you might be doing it the way that people should be doing it, and that's what I mean. The way it is done in Nashville. Move to Nashville, have somebody tell you what you're going to do for the next 5 years of your life. It may do something for them, but it's not truly them. And I think that's what happens, where at some point, and independent artists are getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of that. They don't want to be governed by somebody telling them what to do. They want to do what they want to do and do what's best for what they feel is for their music, their career, their business sense, whatever the case may be. And that's what you guys are doing, and I think that's awesome.
Well, yes. And you know what's opened that door is the digital thing. Digital radio, digital platforms. We can get out there and be heard now.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go through the traditional path.
Right.
So the doors are open, and you're going to hear a lot of music. And we're like, for us, we're going to do 9 EPs in the next 3 years.
That's awesome.
Every 4 months, you're going to get new music. And I can switch my direction because I haven't pigeonholed myself.
Right.
All 4 of those songs on the EP, are they the same?
No.
I mean, they're out there. They're on every corner.
They're good stuff.
And the stuff that we picked for the next EP, I can tell you, is 4 different corners.
Right.
I mean, you didn't know there were that many corners in a box. But
well,
I mean, we got 4 new corners coming, and so I can switch. I am you.
Right.
I am digital radio. I am liquid.
And I mean, and you're saying that all 4 songs are in 4 different corners. We've already talked about 3. The 4th and final song that I like too, and it's the 4th song on here. It's called "We Good." This is upbeat. It's kind of a fun, summery feeling, beachy feeling song. Is this something you guys penned?
You know what? Yes, I got it as pitch, but there was something a little bit off for me, and so the publisher went back to the writers and said, "Can Chance have a run at it?" And so, they all came back with the green light. And so I did, and ended up rewriting the whole first half of the song, because as it was, "We Good" is a conflict term, if you think about it. Like when you say, "Hey, we good," that means you've had an argument, but it's all good.
Okay.
And it just didn't hit right there for me. And so I'm on a plane, and I'm like, wait a minute, this could be a relationship song, because there's conflict in everybody's personal relationship with their spouse, their significant other, whatever. And successful ones of those always come back to, "We good." She's different than me. We argue, but we get it ironed out, and we good. And I thought, is there a way for me to present that in a song? And so I did. I was like, "Mr. Fix It Upper," here we go, and that whole song just started out on the way that I see really, really good relationships with people. They laugh at each other's differences.
Right.
They don't make their spouse or their partner feel insignificant over their differences. They actually just relish in it. And as soon as we took that turn, this song took a big upswing for me.
Okay.
And I had to fight for this one. Right. I wanted it bad on the EP. I thought it was, this is another part of my personality that I thought people needed to see. It is light, but real.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite. I love it. I had the most input on it. And that's, you talked to me now for a half hour or so, and I'm the first one to laugh at myself.
Awesome.
So this is a, this is just another piece of who I am.
Well, I think what we're going to do is when we say our goodbyes, I want to play We Good, because I think that's just it's a great, like you said, I want to hear the story. I want to hear the whole thing. At the end of the show, we'll do Everybody Wants You to remind people that if they've missed the interview, this whole thing gets recorded and played back on Sunday. They can hear a little something, Everybody Wants You, so that they listen in on Sunday for all the other songs. And somewhere in the middle there, I'm going to treat them to She Wrecked This Town. Because honestly, that one off the get-go, that one was kind of one of my favorites right from the get-go. But
yeah, that's with the opening of that song, you could chop that up and put that at the beginning of your show. If you think about it, if you want to get people's attention,
yeah,
bam,
yeah, nice.
Play that intro.
So we're gonna get all 4 of them out there for you, Chance.
Well,
and I don't normally do that, but this whole thing has been very, very, very cool, and I love all of it. Oh, no problem. But hey, listen, let's talk a little stats. Okay, so you guys are in the Northwest a lot. I might have to come and see you when I get a chance. I have a friend of mine who lives in Seattle.
Okay.
And I go visit her once or twice a year. So
okay.
I'll have to reach out to you and say, hey, where are you guys going to be?
Okay.
But connectivity, you are a digital dude. I'm assuming you're all over the social medias, checking in with all of that stuff.
Yep. My personal favorite is Instagram, but that's just because I have to do the least to be entertained on Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter, it's out there. I get on there. I'm horrible on Twitter. I mean, I am brutal. I've got some of my buddies that play in the NBA or play professional football or whatnot. I follow them, and they're like, "Oh, he sat down at his Twitter." Because they're like, this is going to get ugly so fast. And I do. I love hitting Twitter for like a half an hour every couple days and just stirring it up and then walking away. And I don't even have to be around for the fallout of what I say on Twitter. I just let it roll. And so I love jump on it and do that stuff.
Awesome.
I really do. People are like, you can't say that.
Why not?
Yeah.
Everybody else does.
And they just did. So, if you're not into my sense of humor, you're simple.
Yeah.
It's an unfollow.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's, I mean, it's pretty good. That's the way I feel. It's like you don't like what's being posted, then stop reading it.
Yeah.
But if people are reaching out to you about your music and things like that, though, on the Facebook and that, you're the guy who kind of checks in and answers them and chats with them about it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I take the good with the bad.
Awesome. And they can find your music on the social medias?
Oh, yeah. If you go to just chancemckinney.com,
okay,
it has that big line of all places that you can find me. And I don't expect people to follow me on everything. I just think pick your favorite. Stick to that.
Yeah.
We'll get that stuff out to you. And like I said, new things are opening up every day. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought I'm going to be in a movie.
Yeah.
Let alone a horror flick. I'm scared to death of horror flicks. And yet, here I am. I mean, stuff's changing all the time. And I sometimes I check in on my own social media to find out where I'm going to be next.
That's awesome. Oh, my gosh. So you said you're working on 9 EPs. You're going to be doing some video work. You're expanding your tour, which, like I said, I'm noticing a lot of it is Utah, Washington, California, of course, Montana. People want to see you. That's where they're going to have to go. Are you planning on expanding that eventually, maybe to Pennsylvania? Just jump over to the other side of the country?
You know what? So as soon as the radio promotion starts, I'm going to have to do, acoustic shows and whatnot, which won't give everybody the full industrialized country vibe. Mm-hmm. But it's fine. I'll be flying to the East Coast. I'll hit 4 or 5 shows in a week and then fly out. And I got to do it smart.
Right.
I can't just throw money out there and hope that I'm playing a different game than the big boys.
Right.
But when this hits, it's like I said, it's a different game.
Right.
So yeah, I plan on getting out there.
Well,
I've got offers to come out and do single shows on the East Coast, and it just doesn't make sense right now.
Right.
You got to put a run together for that stuff to pay off, and so it'll get there.
Well,
it'll get there. If this is good, it'll get there. If it's not good, I won't even be playing in the Northwest.
Yeah. Don't even put that out there. I wouldn't worry about that part. But I want you to know that if you ever end up closer to the east side of the state of Pennsylvania, know that the Penn Speak Radio Doors studios are always open to all my artists. You're more than welcome to swing by, stop in, do a little impromptu. I can bring in a garbage can and bang on that if you want.
You're more than welcome to join us on stage. We are always looking for dumpster players. They're so hard to find.
I'm sure it's a talent. It has to be a very specific talent for that.
Yeah, well, to tune that dumpster,
to tune
and then hit your harmonies.
I know. It's a tough gig.
You got to have goals.
No matter how unreachable they may be.
Yeah, exactly. What do you aspire to be? A dumpster player?
Yeah. Of course. You have been a treat, I have to say. Are we good?
We good.
All right, we good. All right. I think what you've been
waiting the whole time to drop that.
You're damn straight I have. Yep, I have. So I'm like, I want to get to that. Don't forget. I had to write it down so I didn't forget.
It's in Sharpie at the end of your notes.
Damn. Okay.
Hashtag.
Are we good? Okay. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I applaud you for sticking to your guns to continue to be an independent artist. All my independent artists, man, I know it's tough. It's a money thing. It's getting out there and all that stuff. Like you said, it can be a little easier as far as the social medias and the internet and all that kind of stuff. But it's still a fight, and you have to be business smart, and you have to be a singer, a songwriter, performer, and you have to know what you're doing. And like you said, you got to play the money game. So it's a lot more on your guys' shoulders than I think people remember and kind of consider once in a while. So we're going to play your music, Chance. We're going to help you get it out there.
I appreciate it very much.
I said it right that time, right?
See that little blue dot in Pennsylvania and all around the world.
So I love what you're doing. I think it's awesome. I like the fact that you're not just another splash in the pan, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So good for you guys. Before I let you go, you got a wink, wink, nudge, nudge of something exciting down the pike. I know you already mentioned the movie. You got some videos coming. I mean, you kind of divulged a bunch of stuff already, but anything else, a little something?
I mean, I don't even know what my schedule is today.
Okay. Well, it's not I was going to say
we're down here at the CMA Festival right now, and I know I have to be certain places at certain times, and I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me where I'm going. But just know that while this song is going to national radio and this EP is out there, we're already on to the next project. And I've never done that. It's always been a year and a half or 3 years in between projects.
Okay.
And this, we are, like, if you dig this, wait 4 months.
Okay.
And I'm going to hand you a whole bunch more stuff.
Well, know that you can always reach out to me again, and we can get you back on. My guests are my artists are always welcome back on the show. A couple of them come back every 2, 3, 4 times, 2 times a year, whatever you need. If it's helping, if it helps you get your stuff out there, please feel free to contact me again. But I want people to know to find you, and all of your links as far as social media is Chance McKinney, and that's CHANCE, and then McKinney, McKinney.com. Everything Chance is on there. You guys need to check this guy out, man. He's blazing a trail, and I think you're going to do pretty damn good for yourself. And I wish you all the best of luck. I wish you the best. I hope it works out.
I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
All right, no problem. Remember, doors are open. You know how to reach me. Get in touch anytime, Chance. Good luck with everything, and have fun down in Nashville.
All right, thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.